In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the lower ball joints on this Toyota Tacoma. Let's install these TRQ ball joints. Let's remove the wheel. You can either use a thin wall 21mm socket or use a little pry bar screwdriver. Pull this cap off. Now you can use a regular size socket to get all the 5 21mm lug nuts off. With those off, remove the wheel. Now let's remove the tie rod. To get that off, we have to get the cotter pin out. Hopefully yours isn't stuck in there. Sometimes they seize over time. This one's fairly new, so I'm just gonna pry it out of here with my cutters. Don't reuse these. Always install a new cotter pin, no matter how good it looks. Now use a 17mm socket and remove the tie rod mounting nut. Use a hammer and hit right here. That should separate the tie rod from the mounting area. Make sure you don't hit the boot though. There we go. Take this out, set it aside. If you're on the floor, you would want to add a floor jack here just for support because the spring will want to push this down once we unbolt it. But I'm on a lift, so I'm going to use a pull jack and just support the lower control arm a little bit. Just put some pressure on it so that it doesn't go down with a lot of momentum once we unbolt these two bolts here. Let's remove the two 17mm bolts that go through the ball joint and into the knuckle. These are often very tight. Now we can lift up on the knuckle, set it aside, just twist it out of the way, and we can remove our ball joint. Now you can release pressure off of the control arm. We'll reapply pressure later when it comes time to putting it together. The shock is in, so that's going to prevent everything from going down too far. And at this point, we should be able to remove our support. Let's remove the cotter pin. Try to bend it in a way in which you will be able to remove it. If it's stuck on here, probably going to have to hammer a socket on, but well, it looks like mine is not stuck. So hopefully that's the case for you. Try to get it out. That'll be a lot easier. There we go. And now let's get a 19mm socket. Take that nut off. Now you can either tap on the knuckle, hammer this up, or use a pickle fork, whatever you have, whatever you want to do, but get the ball joint out of here. If you use a pickle fork, make sure you aim it sideways, because otherwise it'll hammer right into this and it won't actually do anything. There it is. Get the pickle fork out, and there's your ball joint. I'm going to clean this area up just a little, especially the old globs of grease that came out. Make sure it's in good condition, no sharp edges that could cut the boot or anything like that. Make sure the mounting hole is good, and let's get the new ball joint in. Take your new ball joint, slide it in. Once it goes through, put the mounting nut on. Let's bottom it out. The new mounting nut is a 21mm. Once it's snug, let's torque it. 80 foot-pounds is the torque for this mounting nut. At this point, you want to make sure that the cotter pin slot that goes through the stud lines up with the castle nut. Actually, mine lines up pretty much spot on. I'm going to go just a tiny bit extra. If yours doesn't, even if it's close, always tighten, never loosen to get it to line up. Put the cotter pin through and bend it over to lock it in. If you removed your support while you were doing the ball joint, put it back. Raise the control arm up a little bit, that way it'll make it easier to Get the knuckle seated on the ball joint here. You don't have to go very far, just a little. Take the knuckle, put it on the ball joint. You're gonna have to line up these two holes with the ball joint itself. The upper control arm is gonna want to pull up, so you might have to take a pry bar and just pry it down while you do this. It's close on one side, so I'm gonna try to start this bolt in. Try not to cross thread this. It's going directly into the knuckle, and that would be a bad day. Yep, that one definitely started, so I'm gonna bring it in. That way it can hold onto this side while I line up the other side. Pry down again. Get this bolt threaded in. That's threading on really smoothly. I'm just gonna go all the way. Perfect. Now you can let go. And now let's snug them up. Snug these up now. Now we can torque them. The torque for these is 116 foot-pounds on both. 116 foot-pounds. The knuckle's going to want to spin, but once it bottoms out, you can torque it. That's one. And the second one, I'm going to have to spin it back, and then the socket's going to bottom out, but that's all right. That's it. Release pressure from your support. There we go. Let's get the tie rod back into the knuckle. Slide it through, put the mounting nut back on, snug it up. The torque for this is 53 foot-pounds. That's it right there. If it doesn't line up, continue tightening. Looks like mine does line up, so I'm going to stop there. Stick a new cotter pin through and bend it over to lock it in. Let's get the wheel back on. Start on all 5 of your lug nuts, bottom them out in a cross pattern, and then also in a cross pattern, tighten them to 83 foot-pounds. Once again, 83 foot-pounds for all these lug nuts in a cross pattern. And if your truck had the center caps, go ahead and put these back on.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.